Alrighty, fellow travelers, welcome back to Adventures of a Traveling Don. My name is Benjamin O, and we are continuing our series here in Bar Harbor, Maine. And in this video, I'm going to showcase some hidden gems that I haven't gone over before in my previous videos of Bar Harbor. So let's go ahead and explore this town of Bar Harbor and some of the hidden gems that you can go eat, drink, and learn a lot of history about here in Bar Harbor, Maine. So our first spot here on this Hidden Gems tour of Bar Harbor here is at the Looking Glass restaurant. And this is a little bit of a trip to come up. You can actually take the bus to come up here, or you can walk up the hill. Gets you a nice little exercise in the morning. But it is off the 3 as you head towards the Wonderview Inn. You go up the hill, just kind of follow the signs all the way up. And it is one of the best views on the island, just in general, but from a restaurant perspective, just because you have this broad sweeping view of the bay, the islands in the background, some of the mountains as well. It's just absolutely fantastic. It's a gorgeous restaurant. The food is absolutely phenomenal. They're only open from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. every day. And it's a great place to kind of get away. And not many people know about it because it's way up on the hill. It's kind of like almost as you're heading out of town. So it's kind of, you get a little bit less of a crowd, shall we say. But it is a gorgeous restaurant and a gorgeous view for breakfast. A great way to start your day. So whether on your way up to the Looking Glass restaurant or on your way back down, you are going to run through here the de Gregoire Green. And this is kind of like a beautiful little memorial just at the beginning of town. Like the Bar Harbor sign is right across from me. So this is like anytime you're driving into Bar Harbor, you're basically going to drive right by this, whether you're going in or out. But it's just kind of a nice little memorial garden, or memorial little way, shall we say. You have, of course, the Richard Koff Fountain at the very top end. And here on the bottom end is the 1947 Fire Memorial, which of course in 1947 there was a great fire that pretty much destroyed most of this east side of Acadia and a lot of Bar Harbor as well. And right here is one of the hills where the firefighters made a stand, almost like a last stand, against the great fire of 1947. So this is kind of a nice little historical memorial. I think they erected it in like 2019 or something like that. And it just kind of gives a nice little sort of beautiful walk along here for this kind of like stretch of maybe about 100 yards or so. Yeah, definitely check this out on your way up to Looking Glass restaurant or on your way back down. By the way, when you're walking the streets of Bar Harbor and you're looking to kind of like learn about its history, you'll see these signs all around here. And these are like the Bar Harbor Museum in the Streets sort of village signs. And it kind of gives you little rundowns of where everything is on the map. So you can kind of go from place to place to place and check out places that still exist. Others are, you know, they've changed in different ways. And it'll have, each one will have different like historical facts along there to read as well. So if you're into the history of that stuff, this is definitely something to keep your eyes out when you're walking around Bar Harbor. All right, so our first major kind of like historical place we're visiting is the La Rochelle Mansions and Gardens. And this place is absolutely amazing. Like it is, I think it was built in 1903 by the Bowden family. I think it was like kind of like a president or vice president of J.P. Morgan at the time. So very, very rich and wealthy family. But the estate is fantastic. It's about a 41 room, 13,000 square foot, 2 acres of land house that just dominates this side of the north side of West Street. It's the largest estate on West Street, not including hotels. And it's absolutely fantastic because there's a lot of history to it. There's a lot of powerful names that have kind of come through this mansion visiting the Bowdens. And it's also just the way that it's set up is absolutely phenomenal. That old kind of like red brick style mansions of like the Northeast. It's really, really, really cool. And you just get a bunch of different, like they set up mannequins with the dress of the times from the early 1900s. So you get just like this old feel throughout the whole thing. And it's just, and the bay, the views of the bay. I'm here in the sunroom right here, just off from the dining room, and that's just imagine if you actually lived here. So, but it was privately owned for quite a while. In the 1970s, it went over to Seacoast Mission and was their headquarters for a bit. And then in 2019, the Bar Harbor Historical Society did purchase this, and it is now done for tours. It is only open 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You usually need about an hour to visit it, so I would recommend coming before 1 to get here before they close at 2 o'clock, just because there's quite a lot to kind of see throughout the whole. So, but it's also, I think it's only Monday through Saturday. Sundays they are closed as well as holidays. So, but definitely if you're into history and stuff, this is a great historical site to check out, the La Rochelle Mansion and Museum. I love that sound of a good old clock like that. Oh, that's chills. Okay, so now this is my kind of room, because in Edith Bowden's room, bedroom, which is upstairs on the second floor here at the La Rochelle Mansion, this has basically been turned into like a map room, and it's got maps of both Bar Harbor and Acadia from way back in the day. Like they start here for the Bar Harbor ones from 1881 going to 1887, 1893 to 1896. It looks like there was quite a bit of expansion of Bar Harbor into almost what it is now, at least the size of the town, from in those 15 years. So yeah, it's fascinating to see how much it was built up in those 15 years. And then even like Acadia, like some of the earlier maps start in like the early 1900s and go all the way to like the 1940s, and you just kind of see how maps have kind of changed over the time. But see, I'm big into maps, cartography, all that kind of stuff, geography. That's one of my favorite things, is to like just look at maps, and this room is really cool. All right, so we've had breakfast. We've already seen our first historical site. However, to get us through the rest of the day, what do we need? We need a little caffeine, and that is where we are at right now. We are at a place called Vacationland Coffee Pub, and this is one of the newest spots here in Bar Harbor. It was, I believe it was opened Labor Day this year, 2023, so it's only been open for about a month at the point of filming this, and it's this cool little kind of like side back alley like coffee bar. You know, they have beers that you can get, they have some wines, they also have, you know, they make espresso martinis and stuff like that, but they are known specifically for being their own small little roastery. So they make all of their stuff in-house, and they make specifically cold brew. While they do have great hot coffee, their cold brew is all from a nitro stout, and I can tell you right now, that is a delicious, delicious cold brew. I even just kind of like their little logo. It's really kind of cool. But yeah, it's this small little hidden spot, brand new, decent prices for the coffee. The cold brew is fantastic, and like I said, they make it all in-house. It's called Vacationland Coffee Pub, and it's right in this sort of like back alley right behind Rosalie's, right off of Cottage Street. All right, guys, so while we're here at Vacationland Roasteries and Coffee Pub, I actually got to meet the owner here, and this guy is the owner. Chris is your name, correct?
Yes, sir.
Nice to meet you, Chris. And so, Chris, what is it that you guys are really doing here at Vacationland? And you just opened recently, so how has that kind of all gone for you in this first month?
Yeah, sure. So kind of what our lane is, maybe more specifically than others, is I like to describe it as we're like mini micro roastery meets mini micro brewery, in a sense of we roast everything here in-house, but we also have a big canning and kegging program as well. So we do everything from canning our own lattes to kegging our own coffees, to doing spiked draft coffees. And then there's also the pub end of things as well. So we call ourselves a coffee pub. So for those, coffee first, pub second. But for those that are maybe interested in having something other than a coffee in the afternoon, we've got draft beer, we've got cider, we've got Prosecco, and cocktails.
Sweet. And I can definitely attest, I've already tried a sample of each of these sort of like cocktails. Like this is like the Drunken Pumpkin. And so, like you can taste that pumpkin spice in there. It's absolutely fantastic. They make their own espresso martini on the nitro stout, and it's all in the kegs down there. It's actually really, really good. So enjoy that. Yeah, that's just fantastic. And this third one, what was this one called?
That is the ill-tempered cider.
So it's what, bourbon?
Yep.
Yeah.
Bourbon,
So
honey, bourbon, cinnamon infused cider.
oof, that is so good. So yeah, definitely if you're looking for stuff on the go, come in. Yeah, you do have to, I believe, order food here in the state of Maine to get some of that to go, like the cocktails. But or get one of their breakfast sandwiches and then get one of their cocktails to go. You know, go back to your place, sit out on the porch, drink it, maybe on some ice. This place is really, really cool. All right, so I know if you guys watched the last video, I kind of got my fill with shopping with Sky here in Bar Harbor because we went into all the damn shops. However, I do want to point one shop out in this particular video. I've passed it many times because it's in an old historical back alley. It's like, I think this is Roddick Street here in Bar Harbor, Maine. It's the same street as Vacationland Coffee Pub. It's just right across from Cottage as you're heading towards West Street. And this is, what is the name of this place, good sir?
So we're a Little Mad Shop.
Little Mad Shop.
Yeah.
And your name is?
My name is Patrick. I'm the owner with my wife, Jolene.
Awesome. Nice to meet you, Patrick. And just looking around, it's just kind of like a curious, like, cases of art and everything. This is really cool.
Yeah, we try to like feature, you know, unique, unexpected, overtly positive, but with a twist items.
And so it's like, where does all this art come from? Is it local or?
Right now, we always juggle about 100 to 200-ish different artisans. Half of them are always going to be from Maine, and then half of them will be from all over the country. And then we'll leave the country. Our best-selling artist is actually a young lady from London, and she's been our best-selling artist for 12 years.
Nice.
So as long as it's handmade or unique and different, we'll bring it in. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And then outside of the art, just the building itself, it's a very unique building. Like it's pink, it's like, what, 3 stories or something?
It is. It's a really old building. The oldest deed I have is like 1856, but there's record of it before. It was actually in a pretty sad state. It just needed a lot of TLC, and so for 2.5 years my wife and I have been putting it back together. We bought the building. We've now made it our year-round home, so we live upstairs. No more daily commute. We were commuting 2.5 hours a day for 10 years. So now we have a staircase, and that is our daily commute. And we opened up in this space last year, and we've been just really loving being right downtown Bar Harbor. Yeah.
Now, so was this business that you have going right now, is it only 2 years old, or did you have another spot before?
No, this is our 12th year of business. It's our 2nd year in this space.
Okay,
so we've always been a Little Mad Shop, but we moved from the Bayside Landing courtyard behind Testa's Restaurant, behind Jeannie's Great Maine Breakfast, where most people know us from, over here to Roddick Street. Now our new neighbors are the West Street Cafe, and of course Side Street Cafe and Vacationland right up the street. So it's a great little street. Roddick Street gets a lot of walking traffic. It's a little less of an inclined hill, so it makes it a little easier for a lot of people. Yeah.
Well, it's honestly, it's a great spot. It's a cool little shop, and if you're into art, it's absolutely fantastic. Also, I have to showcase this right here. This is called Chirpy Top Wine Pourer.
Yes.
And he has a little demonstration. If you like those little wine aerators, check this out real quick.
When you have it upright, it's a stopper, but when you pour from it, it aerates and it chirps. Definitely makes people smile.
That is freaking awesome. All right. So yeah, whenever you're here in Bar Harbor, come down this back little alley, look for the tall pink building, and come in, and even just to hear that, it's really, really kind of cool. I'm actually going to buy one of those for my mom to take home back to Texas. But anyway, sir, thank you so much. Appreciate it. It was Patrick, and it was a Little Mad Shop. So Patrick, a Little Mad Shop. Come check them out when you're here in Bar Harbor. All right, so the next hidden gem here in Bar Harbor, Maine is, of course, the Abbey Museum. And it's off here off of Mount Desert Street, and it is a fantastic museum. First and foremost, it's set in a building that was built in about the 1880s. Almost has like this Nordic Germanic style to it, which is really kind of cool. It's very unique amongst the rest of Bar Harbor. But this particular museum was built in 2001. It is dedicated to Dr. Robert Abbey, who was an archaeologist up here in Maine. And he was a man that liked to study the artifacts and the art of the Wabanaki Confederacy. And the Wabanaki Confederacy was a mix of 5 different Native American nations here in the Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and the sort of like Quebec region of Canada. So we're gonna go in and check out and learn some of the Wabanaki history here in Maine. So admission into the Abbey Museum is $10, and once you're done with getting your ticket, you're gonna come over to the first room here, and it's gonna kind of give you a brief rundown of all the 5 tribes that this Abbey Museum is basically dedicated to. And that is the Passamaquoddy, the Penobscot, the Micmac, the Maliseet, and the Abenaki. 4 of those are federally recognized by the United States. The Abenaki is the only one that is not and does not have a federally recognized reserve in the United States. They do have one in Canada, but they're the only ones that don't. But it is kind of cool because the information boards give you kind of a brief initial rundown of each tribe and kind of where their reserves are at here in the state of Maine. So this is the first part to check out, and then we'll go inside. So the first area that you'll see here in the Abbey Museum is sort of like the long hall going down into the main part of the museum. And that will have sort of like the initial timeline of the Wabanaki from the point of contact with European colonists. The first being, of course, in 1524, where Veranzo made his first trip throughout like that northeast section of Canada and down into Maine. And then, of course, it goes all the way through colonialism, and then through early American history, all the way through to World War II, and the contribution of the Wabanaki tribes, both here in the United States and in Canada, in World War II. So it's really kind of a cool hallway, gives you a little timeline. And then the first, right next to it on the right hand side, the first 2 rooms kind of goes into a mixture of both modern art and a lot of the artifacts and the the dresses that they used to wear back in their native days. So stuff that they still actually use when they do productions for people to kind of showcase what their culture was all about and still is about. Yeah, so it's kind of cool because the Wabanaki people is known as the people of the dawn. And it's sort of symbolic because here in the United States and even Canada, this eastern part, this very northeastern part, is where you first see the dawn here in the United States. I don't know if that's how it's interpreted, but that's kind of how I see that. But yeah, this is really cool. Okay, so now the downstairs area of the Abbey Museum is where they have the Archaeology Lab. So this is where you'll find a lot more of the ancient artifacts that the Wabanaki used to use well back in their past. And their past goes back about 8,000 years or so. I think even 12,000 years ago, there are signs that the first men that used to be here that eventually became the Wabanaki tribes came over here during the Ice Age. But it is kind of cool because they have both the Archaeology Lab where they study any new artifacts that come in. They showcase the ones that they have and kind of give a little bit of a history of the Wabanaki tribe. And then you can come in here, and I think this is more of kind of like a learning lab for kids and stuff. So if you have children, you're coming up here, you can bring them here, and there's all these kinds of different crafts and artwork and stuff that they can kind of use to kind of learn a little bit of the Wabanaki tribe's history. And it is fascinating because something I just learned is the fact that the Wabanaki Nation is the only nation of Native Americans in the United States that were not removed from their lands, at least like from this particular area. Many of the other tribes had to flee westward. And while they lost land here to colonialism, they still remained within the area. They were never sent, states over. So I'm sure many of them did leave to try and escape, but a lot of the tribes still here to this day. That's why you still have a lot of Native American blood when it comes to the Penobscots and the Abenakis and stuff like that here in Maine. So it is kind of fascinating, the history here. And they're one of the first ones that had any colonial touches, impact with colonials. So it's fascinating that they were the ones that truly survived. And it's a great story of survivalism, sad story of tragedy. They were involved in a lot of the wars between the English and the French back in the day, and then of course the American Revolution and so on. But it is a fascinating, fascinating museum. All right, so after walking around a lot and kind of learning history, we've had some coffee, we've had some late breakfast. If you're looking for a kind of quiet little getaway for drink, come to the Abbey Manor Inn. I've showcased this place in the past, but I showcased the outside, which on a beautiful day like this, it's the best way to do it, is to go outside, listen to live music. They have live music every day as long as it's not raining and the outside is open. During the nighttime, they have the fires going, although I think after like 8 p.m. it's only hotel guests are allowed to have the fires, but it's still a really, really cool spot. But if you don't want to deal with all that, they do have the hotel lobby bar, which is a beautiful little bar. It has more of a curated list of whiskeys, which is I'm a big fan of, particularly Scotch and bourbons and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a little quiet place to kind of come in and just have a quick little whiskey if you want. And if you want, you can come in, get that particular whiskey, they'll put it in a to-go cup, and then you can go outside and listen to the music and enjoy the beautiful day out there. But if you want a quiet getaway, come on inside. Got a couple small little tables. There's a nice little lounge out in the kind of foyer there. It's one of my favorite inns and hotels, both aesthetically and just the way that they run things here. So yeah, definitely come into the inside bar at the Abbey Manor Inn for a secret little bar here in Bar Harbor. Speaking of nondescript or hidden bars, if you are looking for one, particularly gentlemen, if you're out shopping with the lady and you want to escape for a little bit, come to the bar I've been running this season up here in Bar Harbor, Maine. It's called the One-Off Pub. It's connected to Beer Works. While it has the same food menu, it does have a different drink menu, cocktail menu, and of course, beer menu. And whether I'm here or not in future seasons, this is a great little spot when it's open to kind of like quietly get away. As you can see, you can people watch. You can watch out, gentlemen, if you can see your lady. If she's across the street coming this way, there is a back door out to Beer Works and then a side door out the back, and you can escape down the alley if you need to. It's happened, so I'm not just spitting that out. That has literally happened in this bar. But anyway, yeah, this One-Off Pub, come and check it out. Whether I'm here or not in the future, this is a great little one. And it's off the main strip as well. It's right here on Main Street. But come and check out One-Off Pub if you need an escape from the shopping. Okay, so the next spot is called Blackfire Inn, and this is off of Cottage Street. And particularly by next season, this will be truly a hidden gem because you used to be able to see it off of Cottage Street. It's a little bit back, but you used to be able to see it off of Cottage Street. However, my buddy Steven is building a new hotel right in front of it, so you're gonna have to go around the hotel to find this place. But it is a truly hidden gem here in Bar Harbor Inn. It is built after kind of like an old side of like European, particularly like UK British style inn. It is an inn, so you can stay here, and they do have a pub downstairs which kind of takes after that traditional British style, Scottish style pub. It's really kind of cozy, really cool, got a fantastic little bar, and they do kind of like local Maine produce in that sort of old pub style. And I will say this, the best part about the Blackfire Pub really is their happy hour. It's probably the best happy hour in town, and they go by the kind of rule of 2, 4, 6, 8, and that's like $2 off any of the local oysters. So they're instead of $4 or $2 an oyster, which you cannot find, I think, anywhere else, at least in town. It's $4 off of the main cocktails, $6 for every draft beer, and then of course $8 off every bottle of wine. So it's one of the best, if not the best, happy hour in town. Very cozy. I got myself a nice Oktoberfest beer from Woodland Farms Brewing Company, so cheers to you guys. Oh, that's so good. And I got myself, of course, a thing of half dozen oysters for only $12. Usually, half dozen oysters is going to cost me $24. This is half the price during happy hour from 4 to 6 every day that they are open. They also, of course, serve breakfast for both public and the people that stay here at the inn. So, but anyway, bottoms up to you guys. Nothing like a good Maine oyster, and these are from MDI Oyster Company. Damn, that's good. So one honorable mention that I wanted to throw out there for this kind of hidden gems is back here on Roddick Street. And a lot of them are really on this street here. However, this is Lampa Cafe behind me. Now, they're closed on Mondays, which is when I'm filming this. But I do highly recommend coming here. Like, their dinner menu is really, really good. Really enjoy those mussels. They're absolutely fantastic mussels dish. I think it's got like a spicy Dijon mustard kind of like sauce that they toss it in, which is really fantastic. It's cool because it has kind of like this beautiful garden style seating, and then they also have bocce ball. And this is a late night place as well. When they are open, particularly on Sundays, they do karaoke every Sunday night here from about like 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. It's one of the later places that are open, particularly on the weekends. And it is one of my favorite places to come to. It's just, I've had a lot of good memories here at Lampa Cafe over the last several years, but definitely check out Lampa Cafe when you're here in Bar Harbor. All right, so for the final spot, we are here at a place called the Annex. This is again on Roddick Street. I really should have just made a Roddick Street video, to be fair with you. This is right next to Side Street Cafe. It is connected to Side Street Cafe, but it is more of the cocktail bar with kind of like snacks. They do have a full menu that they have available at Side Street, but it's kind of more of a chill, kind of like really nice cocktail style vibe. They do live music here, I believe, every night from like 8 to 10 o'clock, and they make some great freaking cocktails. I got myself one of their signature old fashions, which has kind of like bacon fat infused bourbon. So we're gonna give this a try real quick. Oh, that's nice. Slightly sweet. You can actually get a little bacon flavor out of that. That's absolutely fantastic. And just the setup of the bar is absolutely amazing. And it's not as well known as Side Street because it's only been open for a few years. So it's kind of one of the newer joints here. But it is a fantastic cocktail bar. They take really good care of you here. And I can tell you right now, the crab dip that I had here, oh my God, you want to talk about flavor. That crab dip with the pita was absolutely amazing. So I highly recommend you're looking for a place from about 8 to 10 o'clock, particularly when they do live music here, come to the Annex on Roddick Street, right next to Side Street Cafe. Alrighty guys, so that is going to be the end of this particular Hidden Gems tour of Bar Harbor. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I gave you about 8 different places to really kind of check out, both to get kind of like both the drink, the food, and the historical and cultural, aspect of Bar Harbor here in Maine, while evading the major crowds. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed all of that. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave those down in the comments. I've done several different videos as well across Bar Harbor and particularly MDI and Acadia National Park. So I've got several videos. Just go ahead and look those up in the playlist, check them all out, and you kind of get like a nice feel for all of Maine, particularly here in Bar Harbor and Acadia National Park. But if you did like the video, give it a big old thumbs up, and of course if you haven't already subscribed to the channel and hit that notification bell. What are you waiting for? And of course, if you'd like to support me, I do have a Patreon account. I do want to give a big shout out to all of my Patreons, Mia, the Ulrey family, appreciate you guys, and of course my beloved mother, my Buy Me a Coffee account member. If you guys want to help support me with that, I do have both a Patreon account and a Buy Me a Coffee account. I'll leave all of the links in the description for all that, and I do appreciate all the support. Thank you so much. And guys, until we meet again, peace out and have a great night.